Hello, and welcome to Drag Race Rejudged, where today I will be counting down the least controversial winners of Drag Race. While this is a completely subjective topic, I will be trying my hardest to have an objective top 8, and for me, that is enough. One quick thing before I start, there will be a few more details in the description, but I will not be uploading for the next few weeks. My next video will be on the Saturday after the Season 18 promo drops. Now before I start with actual contenders, I'm going to narrow down our pool a bit. The winners of Season 2 and 4 are pretty self-explanatory. The following winners were controversial for one reason or another. If anyone wants clarification, I can go into more detail in the comments. Violet Chachki, Aquaria, Jada Essence Hall, Nymphia Wind, Anya Nerve, Chad Michaels, Alaska, Trixie Mattel, Monet Exchange, Trinity the Tuck, Shea Coulee, Kylie Sonique Love, Jinx's All-Star 7 win, Jimbo, Angeria, and Ginger Minj. Additionally, while I don't really think either of their wins are controversial, I will be putting Sasha Velour and Yvie Oddly in their own separate tier. As far as I know, neither one of their wins was largely controversial at the time with the fanbase, and they're definitely not controversial now, but unlike the actual entries on this list, they didn't have the best track records on their seasons by any measure and won through the lip sync for the crown. While that is a completely valid way of winning a season, there's a very small asterisk next to their wins. Sasha won because of the lip sync for the crown. I'm sure her finale performance would have been great, but Shea dominated the season and was 100% taking it home in a three-way race. It is also worth noting that while her win isn't controversial now, there was a very mild pushback at the time from some of the other queens because she only won based on a single lip sync. Then Yvie Oddly had a single shared win and won through the lip sync for the crown. Just like Sasha, I think she would have had a great showing in a three-way finale, but Brooke was almost 100% taking it home, and at the time, Yvie also had some mild pushback from some of the other queens. Now moving on to the actual list, in 8th place we have Willow Pill on Season 14. Willow did a very good job in the competition, placed in the top 7 times, and had a really good track record for someone who's in the bottom twice. While I had been watching the show for a bit, Willow's win was the first time I was really active within the fanbase during a finale, and I don't remember her win being controversial, especially after Simone broke the 2-bottom curse. The main reason she's down this far on the list was the format change to individual performances and the top 5 lip sync. A huge aspect of her late game momentum was having an amazing finale performance. While she would likely do well in a lip sync for the crown, assuming she isn't cut at top 5, Camden is a stronger performer, so while Willow still wins in the final round, there is a chance that Camden has a collectively stronger performance that night and a better track record. There's also the factor that while it wasn't really justified, she was in the bottom for the final 5 challenge, had an elimination filmed, and also got called second in a fake-out elimination. None of these things make her a controversial winner, but it does bump her down to 8th place. Moving on to 7th place, we have Simone on Season 13. From episode 1 onward, Simone just radiated winner energy. She had the most wins and was really consistent in challenges outside the Rusical and the Roast. Another huge boost to Simone's win equity is how the Season 13 lip sync for the crown played out. Gottmik and Rosé both bombed pretty hard, and thanks to Candy's track record, Simone was the only queen who could have been crowned in a satisfying way, even if she didn't do as well as she did. The only remotely controversial things about her win are her track record and Rosé's. For people who only recently joined the fanbase, prior to Simone and Willow's back-to-back wins, there was a general consensus in the Drag Race fandom that queens who were in the bottom twice could not win their seasons. While this rule was never set in stone, I vividly remember there being a bit of controversy there. The other thing that makes her win slightly controversial is Rosé's track record. Simone had 4 wins and 2 bottoms to Rosé's 3.5 wins and no bottoms. Rosé did really bad in the finale, and Simone's win was barely disputed at the time, so I feel like 7th out of 28 winners is a pretty accurate placement for Simone. Next up, in 6th place, we have Raja. Personally, I would love to put Raja higher on this list, but I'm trying to be at least somewhat objective. The main reason she's so low is because I don't know how to properly view the information that I have. After being eliminated, Mariah said congratulations Raja on her mirror message. On one hand, this could be viewed as Raja was so talented and non-controversial, so she should be ranked high. On the other and much likelier hand, this could be viewed as production was openly pushing Raja in front of the other queens and putting their thumb on the scale, so she should be ranked low. Ultimately, I decided to place it on the lower end of the top because A, if production is making a winner so obvious that the other queens see it, the other queens are going to have a weaker morale, and then B, while I barely remember it prior to All-Star 7, I remember there being a small faction within the fandom arguing that Manila technically had a better track record and deserved to win. In 5th place, we have Bibi Zahara Benet on Season 1. To be brief and blunt, Bibi is in 5th place because I couldn't place her anywhere else. I couldn't justify putting her win as being less controversial than the final 4 queens, but I also can't remember any real controversies that would put her below Raja or Simone. Bibi had a good track record roughly even with Nina's and did a great job in the finale. I might have placed her differently if I had been part of the fandom at the time she won and actually saw people's reactions, but I was 4 at the time and would not join the fanbase until well after Season 12 started, so I just don't have as much scope here. Season 1 is also really short and rarely discussed by other Drag Race channels, so I unfortunately could not have gained any perspective from that. 3rd and 4th place are pretty much dead even between 2 queens, but I have to make a decision here, so Sasha Colby is a narrow number 4. Sasha radiated winner energy for her whole run. From my perspective, she is one of the only queens people say won when they walked in the workroom, who actually did win when they walked in the workroom. I have never seen queens react to another cast member like that. Sasha started off with great momentum in the talent show going into the Heaven infomercials and never lost it. Her only weak point in the competition was being 3rd worst in the comedy challenge, and even that was sandwiched between having 2 wins and then a 3-week streak in the top 3. Another point for Sasha is that she is one of the few winners I don't think I've ever seen lose in a rejudging. I made a video way back in the day, early 2024, about whether or not Sasha was unbeatable and came to the conclusion that she absolutely was. The only thing keeping Sasha out of the top 3 is her wins. In the 50-50 interview challenge, Sasha was given a pretty undeserved win. I haven't really seen anyone, myself included, hold it against Sasha, especially since it balanced out her being robbed of a win, but the fact that there is a conversation about her being mistreated and then favored to balance it out will cause her to narrowly lose out to Bob. As you could guess from me just saying it, next up in the almost tied position is Bob the Drag Queen on Season 8. I don't think it's a particularly hot take to say that Season 8 is the best judged season of the show. I won't go through the full thing, but pretty much every rejudging I've seen has had a top 3 of Bob with 3 wins and a bottom, Kimchi with 2 wins and no bottoms, and then Naomi with a win and a bottom. Even though she was in the bottom for the ball, Bob was by far the most consistent of the finalists, had the most wins, and even when she was in the bottom, I feel she was closer to being 4th best than 2nd worst. Bob is my personal favorite winner, so that may be clouding my judgment a bit, but as far as wins go, Bob is literally as close to zero controversy as you can get. The only reason she's 3rd is because, in my opinion, the top 2 might actually have negative controversy, but more on that later. In 2nd place, and making 1st place insanely obvious, we have Bianca Del Rio. There have now been a few times where a queen has made it to the end without a single low or bottom placement. There have also been a few times where a queen has made it to the end without deserving a single low or bottom placement. Bianca Del Rio is, in my opinion, the only queen to deservingly make it to the end without a single bottom placement. Her weak points on the season are as follows: 4th place out of 11 in the Rusical, and then 3rd place out of 7 in the interview challenge. Going even further, the only controversy involving her judging is that she actually deserved more wins than she got. Combine that with her storyline with Adore and staying out of the major feud storylines of the season, which I would define as Dale vs. Darian and Courtney vs. Jocelyn, and she had pretty much no dirt on her going into the finale. I think there is an argument that her being considered for a double win does constitute a controversy, but I always viewed that more as Adore also gets the win instead of Bianca and Adore were even. In 1st place, as one could expect, we have Jinx Monsoon on Season 5. Outside of Season 4, which I don't count, this might be the only time a queen has been the only possible option to take home the crown. Reason number 1 is track record. Jinx was in the top for 8 weeks and got 2 wins. Not only did she have the best run on the season, but the 2 people that were tied for 2nd, Alaska and Roxy, were both slightly favored at various points, while Jinx arguably could have won more challenges than she did. Reason number 2, and the reason I think she might actually have negative controversy, is storyline. Relaskatox simply could not beat Jinx. All of the buildup for the entire season doesn't work if Jinx doesn't win in the end. Jinx wasn't just non-controversial, but the controversy of her not winning actually might ruin the season. Overall, I think I've made a pretty strong case for Jinx being first, but I do have to briefly touch on Free Your Mind. For anyone who does not know, the final lip sync song between Jinx and Detox was changed from Free Your Mind by En Vogue to Malumbo No. 1 at the last second to give Jinx an edge. I am not going to count this against Jinx for two reasons. Number one, it wasn't revealed until almost a full decade after the season. Then second, and more importantly, nobody cared. If there had been any kind of discussion or backlash, it would have been one thing, but it literally and justifiably slid off her like water off a duck's back. For me, the lack of backlash to that locks in Jinx for first place if she wasn't already.
Do you want non-Emmy nominated gay shit? Well then you should check out the RuPaul's Drag Race Rejudged YouTube channel and hit subscribe.